Yeah.
All right,
Mic
guys.
check.
Happy Monday.
For shizzle, we back.
Yes. The
Back. A lot to talk about.
10th of June, crazy weekend.
For sure, man.
Crazy weekend on a number of fronts. But definitely if you had an E-Trade account. Shout out to all my E-Trade accounts. No, they do not sponsor us, but I got a text like early Saturday morning, like, yo, my account is doubled. I'm like, yeah, you own Nvidia? Yeah, I own Nvidia. Well, the account's doubled because there's a split.
Because of the split, yeah.
Yeah. So if you had like $100, it said you had 200. If you had like 100,000, it said you had 200,000. It was a brief moment of like, oh my gosh, they made a mistake. But no.
So was Ron Kitty down 450 then?
Shout out to Ron Kitty.
Comfortably down 450, right? Yeah. No, he 500,
he got
right?
balls of steel, yo.
Shout out to
Pause.
Yeah, pause. But imagine being down 235. You're on a live stream like, hey guys.
That's why I said it's an emotional roller coaster.
Ooh, Lord.
The level of like dignity he had, the strength to just be like, yeah, 235. Yeah. I always say put your seatbelt on, but that's a different level.
Shawty sent me that link. I was zoomed in. I'm like, what?
Ron Kitty.
Crazy weekend. And what's up with you, man? How was your weekend?
Man, I'm good. Feeling good, feeling glorious. Glad to be here. I know y'all had a great weekend. Shawty, you was all over down south, Boston, outside of New York. I said, dang, you back on tour?
It's a fact. Miami vibes. Then we went to Boston. AAU tournament. Shout out to everybody I saw up there. I saw a lot of people that was tapped in. Somebody was like, yo, you gonna make Market Mondays tomorrow? I'm like, of course.
Gotta make it.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to all the AAU parents out there.
Basketball dads and basketball moms.
That's been tapped in. Got recognized and that was dope. And then came back yesterday. Shout out to Ferris.
Yes.
World Ball. That's our hometown summer league. It's like one of the hottest summer leagues in America right now, man. It's like a real organic feel. Like thousands of people come out, people standing on the rooftop. It's like the old school Rucker. Like that's the vibe. Like standing room only.
It was packed out there, yo.
Yeah, it was packed. You gotta get there early. So shout out to Oop, shout out to kids, shout out to the whole team out there, man. They do a great job, and it's good to see the energy. And we back in Dykeman tonight, of course. Coming for the championship.
Yeah,
I'm about to come out there, yo.
Yeah, we coming to reclaim the throne, man. Last year it was disappointing how we went out. This year we coming with a different vengeance.
For sure. And then one last thing is shout out to everybody that will be out Saturday. So we got a chance. We put it on Instagram today. We renovated our basketball court in our community center that we grew up in.
That's fire.
Theodore D. Young Community Center. Thank you. And Saturday is the grand opening. So we the court has not been done for like at least 40 years. So what we were able to do was refurbish the court. It was like built on a landfill. So it was actually like unlevel. So we leveled it out, put a new surface on it, painted the lines, put fiberglass backboards, redid the tennis court, put pickleball lines on the tennis court.
That's
so
fire.
now you could play pickleball. And it's going to be just a dope thing. You know, like I said, I'd never seen it renovated ever in my lifetime. So we renovated it. Shout out to Dave. Shout out to the community center for allowing us to do that.
Yep.
And the grand opening, we got high school all-star game for boys, for girls. We're going to have a skills clinic for kids. We're going to have food, DJ, and it's all free.
We're going to be there. And we're going to be there.
For sure. So come out.
This Saturday, pull up on us.
This Saturday, let me get the
give them the details. Give them the details.
But if you're around,
I got off the top of my head. You want me to just do it?
If you're around Saturday at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, 40 Yosemite Avenue,
there we go.
Greenburgh, New York, 10607.
There we go.
That's the address. We will have a ribbon cutting. And
yeah.
So
it's an important monument in our community. I can't like overextend that because it is like it's the first place that ever employed us. Before we had jobs, we were kids there as campers, and then it's the first place that employed us as teenagers. We met our business partners there. I met my wife there. Like we all worked there. It became a staple in our community. So to be able to give back in this way is important to us. It means a lot to us. So if you rock with us, you support us, and you're in a tri-state, come pull up on us and share this moment with us. It's monumental. In fact, the first write-up we had in Black Enterprise, we decided to go to the park because it meant so much. And that's the backdrop of the photo shoot because it meant so much. So shout out to everybody that will be in attendance. And shout out to the town for making this thing happen for us. I couldn't be happy.
Incredible.
I'm really proud of this moment.
Love. All right, Ian, any announcements?
Yes. If you're gonna be in Houston this weekend, or even if you're not, come to Red Panda Weekend. We will be doing Friends Saturday from 7 to 10, after party at Jolie, and then Sunday after party at Camp. Go to the link in my bio. Your tickets. If you're in Red Panda, the link is in Telegram. So I'll see you this week. If you want to get rich from investing into the market, go to joinredpanda.com or ianinvest.com. If I made you money, please put yes in chat for preponderance of proof. But if you want to know where to get in, where to get out, the stocks that are going to take over the world, the ones to stay away from, come join us in Red Panda and get rich. I love y'all. Stock Club call this past Sunday was amazing. We're going to have a bonus session before blackout this Wednesday. So I'll see y'all there. Love y'all. Over and out.
Yeah. Shout out to Houston. Shout out to Kim. They had the boy in there, I think, this weekend.
Yeah. Boy, yep.
And then he went to play soccer dad with the oversized pants.
Double duty. Take care of the kids, then go get you another baby at night. You know what I mean?
They said you had the photo shoot of your kid's soccer game with you in it. That's hard.
That's tough. With the old money look, I said, boy, okay. I see the vibe.
Straight comedian.
That pool party was packed too.
It looked it.
Yeah, let's get it. Okay. Also, big episode of Earn Your Leisure this week. We have Pink Nookie, and that is a success story from the Invest Fest vendor marketplace. They were actually able to 10x their business from being in vendors at Invest Fest. So we wanted to highlight that, tell you their story, and also best practices for all the vendors. There's like 3 vendor booths left. So get your vendor booths if you're interested in scaling up your business and networking with over 50,000 people over the course of the weekend. And then, of course, Invest Fest, we have the greatest lineup ever put together. We have the marathon team. We have Steve Harvey. We have Damon John, Steve Stout, T.I. Don Peoples, Lauren London, Stephen A. Smith, Monica, Earn Your Leisure, Ian Dunlap, 19 Keys, Pinky Cole, Shaka Bars, Van Jones, Wyclef, Will.i.am, Will Packer, Coach K, Kareem Biggs, Burke, Yake Awaken, Billy Carson, Matthew Garland, Derek Hayes, Alex Burton, Terrence J, Kenny J, Kenny Burns, Larry Marlowe, Milan Harris, Zay Tobin, Yandy Smith, Miss Business, Ashley Bell, D. Smith. The list goes on. Get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen, and we got some surprises.
Well, y'all making them new announcements, though. I'm telling y'all right now, I don't know what's coming, but when they get that face, look, Rashad, look, Patton or Rashad. When he get that face, get your tickets now. If you ain't got your booth, info at Earn Your Leisure, hit AB.
Don't do that.
It's too late. I'm telling you.
Yesterday's price. Just know, at some point in time, yesterday's price will not be today's price. Y'all keep playing.
We always working, and you never know who we know.
Right. And that's the funny part. They think we just be out partying. It's like that's after
network.
The work came. Okay,
networking,
research and development.
Troy, can you make the disclaimer?
Yeah, y'all know how this
works. The guest's gonna be big when Rashad want to go to the next point too. It's natural Invest Fest.
Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. Thank you. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment decision based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you hear on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. This is a message brought to you by the good brothers at Earn Your Leisure and the good brother Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself. Shout out to the Red Panda family. Shout out to the earners. Continue to share information, spread love, and let's grow as a community. Let's make some money.
All right. So Wingstop.
Ooh.
Is Wingstop a good stock to invest in right now?
Hey, can we run it back 3 weeks when we had our top 5 fast food sectors,
please?
And I had it at number. Well, I think I had it at number 4, but
number 4 or 5. Yeah, I think number 4.
Oh my gosh,
it's one of the stocks that I think we can unanimously agree. Shout out to Rick Ross because he played a great part in marketing the brand. In 2016, they were at $10. They are at $391.80 right now. Unbelievable growth. I don't want to compare it to Domino's, but close in terms of return and trajectory. So yes, I think this is a great question that we got. But they have outperformed many in their space and many in the retail space. When retail is getting beat up a little bit, they are doing incredibly well. If I had to buy it now, I would wait for maybe 351.34 on a short term, and then if I was being greedy or overzealous, if I ever got to 315, I would probably load the boat there. But the stock has done incredibly well. It's performing like a tech stock, to be honest. And I think we need to highlight it a little bit more and talk about it more.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the growth, like you said, over the past 6 months specifically, it's been pretty incredible. If you look at it from a 5-year standpoint, it looks even better. And if you span out from inception, I mean, you're talking about extreme growth. I think one of the things, and I always didn't do it, but the more we talked, Ian, I feel like looking at the fundamental side is important to me. And so one of the first things that I know we spoke about in our class was like, what are the operating margins? How much money are they making for every dollar?
That matters so much.
And if you look at it, so if you look at some of the companies that we just named, you said Domino's, right? Domino's operating margin at 11%, right? So they're making $11 for every 100 spent. Wingstop is almost at $17.
Yeah.
$17,
which is great in the retail space and in the food space as well. That is pretty good. Not great for tech, but for the space or sector that they occupy,
anything that's
pretty damn good.
I mean, that's it. I think it's fair to say it's exceptional, right?
Yeah.
When you talk, and when you think about Wingstop, especially here, I would say in the Northeast, you don't see them as often. Like you might see one or two of them, but there's so much room for expansion, so much room for growth. And we know one of the favorite pastimes of any community really is wings.
Lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper, right? It's the reason why Buffalo Wild Wings was successful for so long.
Yeah.
And now you have this new innovative company that has multiple different types of flavors, different options. I like them, man, because the expansion is there, the room for growth is there, and these margins are really exceptional. I think it's great.
Yeah. If you compare it to Darden gross margin is 19%, when Wingstop profit margin is 17%. It's like, and Darden has done incredibly well, but if you look at if their profit margins are what another company's gross margins are, Wingstop is definitely better.
Yeah,
sure.
And how many companies are encompassing under that Darden umbrella to even get to that number? So it's great.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
All right. So Wingstop. So let's talk about Apple. We haven't talked about Apple in a while, but they're having their Worldwide Developers Conference in California. And
today's the day.
We have a representative out there.
Shout out to our guy, man. Shout out to Mike. He's on the ground. Shout out to Mike.
So, okay. Are we going to show some video or?
Yeah, let's put out some of the
Let's show the video.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have it.
People love Mac Virtual Display because it lets them bring their Mac wirelessly into Vision Pro just by looking at it, giving them a large, private, and portable 4K display. Later this year, it gets even better with higher display resolution and size. And it can be expanded even further into an ultra-wide display that wraps around you, equivalent to 2 4K monitors side by side. Your content stays sharp wherever you look, thanks to dynamic foveation performed on the Mac.
Next, I want to talk about a feat that some may have concluded must be a mathematical impossibility. That's right, we're bringing a calculator to iPad. Now, it's changing the way you do math with a feature we call Math Notes.
I get to it by just tapping the new calculator button right here. And with my Apple Pencil, I'll just start writing out expressions like I would on a piece of paper. As soon as I write an equal sign, calculator immediately solves it for me.
That's dope.
And even shows me the results in handwriting like my own. When I make a change, the results update live. And I can go beyond basic math with all of the same functions from the scientific calculator.
Apple Intelligence is the personal intelligence system that puts powerful generative models right at the core of your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. It protects your privacy at every step, and it is deeply integrated into our platforms and throughout the apps you rely on to communicate, work, and express yourself.
Siri users make 1.5 billion voice requests every single day. 13 years ago, we introduced Siri, the original intelligent assistant, and we had an ambitious vision for it. We've been steadily building towards that vision. And now, thanks to the incredible power of Apple Intelligence, we have the foundational capabilities to take a major step forward. So we can make Siri more natural, more contextually relevant, and of course, more personal to you.
Apple Intelligence unlocks incredible new ways to enhance your writing. Whether you're tidying up your hastily written class notes, ensuring your blog post reads just right on WordPress, or making sure your email is perfectly crafted. Let's use Mail to take a closer look at how the system-wide writing tools can help you communicate even more effectively. Rewrite gives you different versions of what you've written, so you can choose the one you like best. Now, you can change the tone of that response to your colleague to make it sound more friendly, professional, or concise. In addition to Mail, you can access writing tools system-wide, nearly everywhere you write, including third-party apps. Apple Intelligence also powers Smart Reply in Mail. For example, when you need to RSVP to an event, you will now see suggestions for your response based on the email. If you say you'll be there, Mail identifies questions you were asked in the invite and offers intelligent selections so you can quickly choose your responses. Your drafted response incorporates your answers. So with just a few taps, you're ready to send it off with all the right details. We all deal with sorting through a ton of email every day. And now it's easier and faster than ever to browse your inbox. Instead of previewing the first few lines of each email that don't always convey the most useful information, you can now see summaries visible right from your email list. So without even opening the email, you'll know that your team is meeting on Thursday to discuss a new design. And if you jump into a particularly long email when you're in a hurry, you can tap to reveal a summary at the top of the email and cut right to the chase.
Let's start off with AirPods, which are the most loved headphones in the world with an incredible audio experience. This year, we're making it even easier to interact with Siri for a seamless, hands-free experience. For those instances when you may not want to speak out loud in response to Siri, like on the bus to work, or in those places that are a little too crowded, we've created the ability to simply nod your head yes, or gently shake your head no to interact. AirPods are also perfect for staying in touch with friends and colleagues by taking calls anywhere, even in windy conditions or places with loud background noise. So to ensure your voice will sound crystal clear, no matter your environment, we're bringing voice isolation to AirPods Pro.
With the popular Photos face, there is something special about seeing an important person or moment every time you raise your wrist. Now watchOS 11 will help you find the perfect photos for your watch face. Machine learning intelligently identifies, scores, and curates the best photos based on facial expressions, aesthetics, and composition. Then, a custom algorithm elegantly frames the image with the time. You can select a bold color, choose monotone for a sleek look, or create something that is unique and personal to you.
Siri determines that ChatGPT might have good ideas for this, asks your permission to share your question, and presents the answer directly. You'll be able to access ChatGPT for free without creating an account. Your requests and information will not be logged. And for ChatGPT subscribers, you'll be able to connect your account and access paid features right within our experiences.
So Apple's a company that we haven't spoke about in a while. What's the deal with this situation?
This is their day to make their big AI announcements. They also announced updated software, of course, for the Vision Pro 2. It's been a year since the Vision Pro was announced. The product hasn't done as well, but the software looks pretty amazing. I'm excited to see the integration with AI and Siri. They're like unveiling the Siri 2.0, which I'm excited about. And despite it having a rocky year, Apple opened up at 187.15. They're at 194. They are like clawing back out of some of the mistakes they made from earlier this year. The stock price is looking pretty damn good, and then they should end up at the year maybe like at 205-ish if everything goes according to plan. So I think they heard a lot of the criticism. I think they were a little bit late for sure on the AI wave, but I think they're punching back and clawing back some of those lost opportunities. I know everyone was wondering if Apple was going to fall permanently. Here we are clawing back. They have found a way to adjust, and the stock has reflected that. But I think today is like the updates for what they have for the future. They have a bunch of great shows coming out. They have a movie about the fake moon landing about on Blackout.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a moment that turns the tide in a positive way, and they start to recover and push up higher from here.
Yeah, so it's the most important, and everybody felt it. You can feel like this is the most important development conference, and they usually don't talk about products. They talk about software. So yes, new watch OS, new TV OS, new iOS 18, and like you said, I think the Vision OS 2 is important. We spoke about the product. We debuted the product here. We showed the product. One of the things was a drawback was like there's not many apps that are made specifically for it, and so 6 months later, here we are. 2,000 now. 2,000 apps made for it. You can see how sports is getting incorporated. I still like the Vision Pro. Yes, it hasn't taken over yet, and I keyword yet, but those type of improvements are important. But their partnership with OpenAI is the biggest thing.
Yeah, incredibly important.
Because again, what we're looking for is what role will they play in artificial intelligence, and to have that as part of it is important. But now what comes into question is the partnership with Google, right? Because you're looking at two guys who might be your prime candidates for the dilemma, right? Like if he uses ChatGPT as his search for everything, I'm using Google search. But if I have a partnership right onto my phone with OpenAI, do I even need Google search anymore? You're talking about $10 billion in revenue. Is it per quarter? I think it's per year for them to be the exclusive search engine. That
per year, yeah.
It hurts the obviously it takes in some revenue. What is the numbers looking like for the partnership with OpenAI? These are big things, and so it's exciting to see, man. At least they're addressing it and they are aware of some of the issues and the concerns, especially from that quote unquote Mag 7, where all of them pretty much have said, outside of, I guess we can take Tesla, outside of Tesla has said, here's how artificial intelligence will play a role in the future guidance of our companies. Apple hasn't said anything, so obviously today was a big moment for that.
Yeah, and Sam Altman being there, that's a big feat for it. Not only his company, but for Apple to show that the integration and partnership is real. It's like if we would have got that Jay-Z big album, like I think it's incredibly important for them to show solidarity at a time when they're not really public with doing partnerships of this scale, because they really needed it. So Apple will be fine. Everyone who's asked about the stock is doing well. It may not be doing as well as Nvidia, but if you look at the returns over a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year basis, they're doing okay. So
yeah, and at that, like you said, I see it going over 200. It'll be an interesting week. Obviously, we got the Fed chair speaking on Wednesday, and so we'll see if there's going to be rate cuts. There probably won't be, but everybody's assuming that it might happen as early as September, maybe November. So
Biden's going to need them.
We're going to need something. We'll see where inflation's at. We have, another witching is coming up in the next week and a half. So if there's a slight pullback, this might be a time. I know people are like, well, should I buy now? Let's see how Wednesday looks. Let's see how Thursday looks. Let's see how next Friday pans out. And it might fall to a price. I like it in that 176 range if it does get there. If it gets to a price where it's like, all right, well, it's pulled back. We've now heard the innovation. We already trust the brand. We know the moat that they have. Sales in China have picked up. Well, I know we didn't really talk, but they showed
they ticked up. Yep,
they have ticked up, which is important. Which is very important when you're talking about the number one source of revenue for the company, the iPhone. So let's see.
Even if it gets to 191, it would be good. It'd be a good time to buy. Also, too, I want to say, if you're new here, this doesn't include you, but if you've been here for a while, you've been in Stock Club, you don't need to know when. Buy based off price or buy every month. Like, it's a non-factor, and everyone isn't hunting for the best deal when y'all go buy the Rude or Balenciaga shit, like, or the Jordans. Just buy consistently over time, and you'll be a-okay. Because you don't want to be missing out in 4 years, like how some of you are complaining about Nvidia now. Just buy every month, and you'll be a-okay.
Facts. That's a fact.
Okay.
And this is a free show, right?
Facts.
Still is. It still is.
Well, talking about that, speaking about that, I gotta take a quick intermission break. And you know, I love Market Mondays audience. This is our core support group, so I appreciate you guys so much. But I do have to voice a moment of disappointment. So the first year for InvestFest, we had 4,000 people. Then we had 14,000 people. Then we had 20,000 people. By all expectations, we'll probably have 20,000, maybe 25,000 people this year. It's trending in that direction. So we announced last week, that we're doing a $100,000 pitch competition in the name of Nipsey Hussle. We brought his brother on to talk about it and had a whole moment. And we said, all you have to do is have an InvestFest ticket, which I just told you how many people is going to be there, and just submit an application. That's it. General admission ticket, that's fine. Okay. Over the course of the 7 days, how many people do you think has submitted applications so far, Ian?
500.
Okay. So I believe we're at 20 people. So
Edwin, come get your check. Like, Edwin, just come on, say I'm gonna rig this one.
This is the
Foxy,
part we talk about how
this is
surprising.
You said how many?
So
I'm about to make Blue Panda an enter.
My thing is, like, I mean, I don't know, what do you want us to do? Like, you know, we're trying to give away money. We're trying to give away $100,000, right? I get it. You know, everybody might not be confident enough in their business, right? You might feel like you're not at the level that you're even able to articulate yourself in front of thousands of people on the main stage. But if you never,
it's $100,000. I don't mean to cut you. It's $100,000. Y'all swiping up for the private little video message on IG anyway.
Yeah,
it's too hard to make a video and prepare to talk on stage. Fellas, do like y'all do when y'all be in them DMs. Lie.
Lie to me.
So yeah, I don't know. You know, hopefully that'll pick up. If not, we're gonna go with what we got, like I said. But we know that there's going to be thousands of people at InvestFest. We know that the vendor marketplace is almost already sold out. So my whole thing is, like, just in the vendor marketplace, right? Okay, if there's 450 vendors and we say that vendors are eligible, then there should be 450 business. You already have a business, right? Like if you have a business, you've already paid at least $1,500 to have a vendor booth, right? I mean, why would you not enter to win $100,000 for your business? You have a business already, or you wouldn't have invested $1,500 to actually have a vendor marketplace vendor.
Yeah,
and you're already there. You're already at the event.
Am I eligible?
You're going to be there.
It's not like you're not going to be there.
I don't know. I just feel it's a little disappointing, because I just feel like, you know, we're in a day and age where everybody's talking about the fearless fund and how, you know, people are strategically trying to block us from having access to capital. We talked about access to capital being such a big deal. We're trying to give somebody $100,000 with no contingencies, by the way. We're not taking any ownership in your company,
which I thought was crazy. Hey, I'm with Puff on this. I need a Diddy percent, 37%, my boy.
Yeah,
I give you 100. I need 52% in perpetuity,
and then it's
and
like,
a lifetime.
If the worst comes to worst, if you don't win, okay. I mean, you don't. There's no harm, no foul, right? But it's like, if you're going to be there anyway, right? And you have a business, you're starting a business. Why would you not at least try? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what is interesting? I'm thinking about the episode that's coming out tomorrow. Is a prime example of a business that was inside the marketplace that actually scaled to that first 100. But that takes a lot of, like, I don't think
a lot of work.
And we spoke about this about, and I know that clip is going around with Will talking about that difference between being good and being great, and like having 90% of the movie done is you're halfway there. Like that, I feel like that first 100,000 is that same type of analogy. Like when you get to that first 100,
you're just now.
It's like, okay,
Mama, you about to break through. Yep.
but I have some freedoms, right? Now I might be able to do something. I might be able to hire somebody. I might put somebody strategically in place that can now elevate that. So to be stimulated right away with the 100, like, think about what that does.
That's crazy.
I feel you on the disappointment.
How old does the business have to be?
There's no
stipulations.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, there's no stipulations.
Red panda, blue dolphin. I'm about to what? I thought the business had to be brand new. That's crazy.
It could be established business. It could be a new business. There's no stipulations on it. We wanted to make it as open to entrepreneurs as possible. Whoever has the best idea, whoever can communicate, whoever can articulate themselves. We didn't want to put any stipulations on it.
That's I want to democratize financial investing for all. Working on my video as soon as we done. What? That's crazy. But it goes to show people want the handout and don't want to hustle. Put that in chat. People want the handout and don't want to hustle.
That's a fact. And then y'all
I don't want to hear nothing about no give backs and y'all don't do this for the culture, all that. Okay.
Somebody's gonna get it. Somebody is going to get it.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll pick up. But I just had to voice my disappointment in the first week. The first week was disappointing. But we still have a month. We still have a month left, ladies and gentlemen. So go to investfest.com, enter in the competition. All the information is there. But if you don't participate, then I mean, don't even ask me for no advice when you see me. Don't ask me for no business advice when you see me if you haven't participated in the opportunity to win $100,000. You want to talk my head off at Starbucks about how to scale your business, bro.
How can I grow my social media, shawty?
Yo, I can pick your brain real quick. Yo, I know you're with your son right now, but can I pick your brain?
All right.
It's one when you be with your girl and they move your girl out the way.
Like, can I take a picture and then ask your significant other to take it?
You take the picture out real quick.
Or they ask their significant other to take the picture.
That's even wilder.
Never will it stop, man. Okay. Back to regularly scheduled programming.
20 is crazy. Go ahead.
It is. Roaring Kitty. Okay. He did the live stream last week. 600,000 people on a live stream.
Had us waiting for an hour.
We came on with the ninja bandana and full costume regalia, but it didn't help the situation. Stock dropped and has continued to drop ever since. So what's your thoughts on the Roaring Kitty live stream last Friday? And do you think that this GameStop situation has finally come to an end?
I think it's starting to be over. When you sent me the link, I'm like, damn, it's 400,000 people waited. I'm like, oh, this shit about to go to the moon. Yeah. We about to see somebody be up 500, 600, 700 million on a live stream. He was about to get Kyle Sinat out of here. And then he was an hour late.
That's true.
He looked disheveled. I'm not saying he had to come in a suit, but I would have brought the old Market Monday suit back if I was about to hit a Billy. He had the 2 band-aids on like Nelly. I said, oh,
yeah. He went full Brett. He went Brett Hitman hard. Full.
And got hit. Montreal screw job. I have to say, I admire his chutzpah for being on and you're down 200 million. I would have been Jamie Foxx in any given Sunday, throwing up on live stream. Couldn't do it. But it just goes to show for everyone who's like, he's a retail investor. He has a Series 7, a Series 3, worked at a couple of firms. I'm here and he's gaining some enemies. When E-Trade says, hey, I'm probably going to close your account soon, that's not a good sign. The fundamentals of the business are horrible. So I don't know if you, and we was talking about this, like, I remember when Market Mondays first started and people was on my ass for recommending Apple and Microsoft, and you're outwardly just pumping your stock up that has no value. I was in GameStop 3 weeks ago. It was 4 people in there. All this short seller bullshit, this narrative that they wanted, like, he's one of them. He just got ousted, right? I do commend him for having his position size into something that he believes in. As a trader and investor, love to see it. But I think it goes to show if the business is not strong, you can't manipulate it even with 600,000-700,000 people watching. And I think people are not feeling like he's one of them anymore. When you get close to getting to $1 billion in a trade for a company that isn't worth anything, then the narrative really isn't in your favor at that point. So I commend him 1,000%. Hopefully the trade works out, but I see this keeps sliding down, and I don't see how it gets to that $75, $85 range that he needs. And if it stays underneath 20, it's going to be incredibly tough. Like, to 23.86 now, like, not good. Underneath the 72-day moving average, pushing lower. No.
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was, if anything, it was interesting, right? Like, I did send the link out. I was like, all right, let me just check this out to see what it was. And then, yeah, you're right. The 40-minute late thing was kind of like, okay, I didn't even, the Brian Windhorst thing and the Proctor from Game of Thrones as the thumbnail. I'm like, what? Like, I'm just trying to figure out where's the angle. It really had nothing to do anything. And then I listened to him talk. And as I'm listening to him for like 10 minutes, I'm realizing that he's not really telling me anything.
At all.
So I'm listening even more, and he's talking about the new CEO and the revenue and the growth and the future of GameStop. And I'm like, well, that sounds good, but you're in a call that ends in 11 days.
Yep.
So if you believe in it, right? Yes, you have the shares. I'm just finding it a little contradictory that you would be in such a short call. And then I thought it felt like to me this was that. And it fails in comparison, but there are some similarities where we saw Elon go on Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
We felt like this was a moment that Doge, like, he's going to say something that's going to spark this thing to have it run even further. GameStop had run. We hadn't heard from him. We did see a tweet. It ran a little bit more, fell back. We saw another tweet. It ran. And then
it's a profit.
I think if he says nothing, maybe it starts to run even a little bit more. It goes, because it got up to what, $69 after he said the announcement. Then he spoke, and since that point when he spoke, it's dropped 40%. And like you said, you're watching somebody live who's saying I'm down 235 million. So if that was on Friday when it was down 18%, he's probably down at what, 420
easily
million.
Go do a wellness check on Ron Kitty.
Well, do you think that it was do you think that they purposely tanked the stock to teach everybody a lesson and to keep everybody in line?
Be careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, we can say that there isn't a club, but the powers that be, if you're like trying to upset the system, because if he does it, somebody's going to do it at AMC, then there'll be other stocks that are run like this. Now, if you make 10 or 15 million, cool. You're not going to make $1 billion on a live stream and say F you to the entire industry.
Yeah.
Like, the game doesn't work that way. Like, he's Drake right now. The entire hedge fund industry is like Kendrick, and the whole Not Like Us campaign that's going on. Once again, going back to profit margin, for those of you who may think that I'm hating on GameStop before this narrative starts, the profit margin is 0.13%. So not even $1 out of 100 remains in GameStop when $100 comes in, and that's worth $70. 69. God, nah. You have to learn how to make your money quietly, especially if you're making it off some bullshit. Like, come on. So I think they did actively begin to short his position, because everyone's like, okay, he's going to bankrupt the hedge funds and short sellers. That's an entire industry and ecosystem. One person can't bankrupt them. No, BlackRock, we get to it. BlackRock and Citadel just showed you. Okay, great. You want to bankrupt something? We'll make another one in Texas. No. No, you see Putin putting them little ships right by Cuba. It's wartime. You think they're going to let him come take over an industry, and these are family hedge fund businesses that have been run for 100, 200 years, and we're going to let this little kid uproot our industry? No. Cannabis, it's over with.
Nah. And the thing is, like, yes, he does have, I think it was 5 million shares, which, yes, that he holds on to. But the option call he had was for $20, right? And so when it was at 69, you're up, right? But it's slowly approaching.
No liquidity. Yep.
It's slowly approaching that 22 level, right? There's going to be decay on that. This actually could turn negative very, very shortly. And
it's the funny part.
It's still, you still have to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still have to sell it, because until it's sold, it's unrealized. but there is an opportunity that the obstacle, and again, not the shares that he owns, because he holds on to that, but those, if he can't sell it, then it'll be unrealized.
And it's the funny part. After the call expires, watch it goes to $22.
It's gonna go to 30
just to rub it in your face. It's like, no, bro. And of course, he had that short call because long term, if he held it for a year, it wouldn't be worth anything. Like if you look at most analysts, they have the 1 year target for the stock being $7. There's no liquidity there when you have all those shares. Like nobody's going to take those shares off you. It's not worth anything. It's probably the worst company, probably since the .com, to be at this price.
Well,
sucks.
Yeah, I mean that's one of these things, right? He had a moment. I mean, $1 billion on a live stream. You got to go for it. He went for it. Hindsight's 2020. He probably should have,
tried to liquidate.
Maybe he did. Who knows?
We'll see.
Maybe he was liquidating as he was talking, but
that would be legendary.
Count your losses.
I think he was also talking in very vague terms because he doesn't want to get in trouble. So
fair.
He's not trying to like persuade people too much. That's why he's like talking about the leadership of the company. He's pretty much doing what we do on Market Mondays. So it's interesting, but regardless, I mean the guy's up. He's at least $200 million at least.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
win's a win.
200. Yo, you start at 55. You up
55,000.
55,000.
Yeah.
You're not complaining.
That has to be commended regardless of what the outcome is.
You're a legend.
No, he's Hall of Fame.
Right? Like you're a legend. They made a movie about you, bro.
He's a Hall of Famer. Very inspiring.
Within
my
2
thing
years.
is, will they let him exit above $17? Because they'll rig some shit.
No, they won't let him sell. I mean, that happened to us before we wasn't able to sell, and that was on 50,000. So I mean, it's good to have $200 million on paper, but if you can't sell it,
good luck.
You're done.
But that's why the importance of the shares, right? So he can sell his shares.
Maybe. You trying to liquidate $50 million of GameStop shares? That's not.
Somebody has to buy them, and if all the hedge funds are mad at you, like this is a game that, like you guys, for our audience watching, like if I get to say in certain topics and Troy and Rashad be like, not this one. You can't upset everybody. Why y'all think I'd be like Vanguard, BlackRock? I need some protection. So if he's upsetting the entire industry, the people he needs to sell to hates him now. No, I'm not buying your shares off you. We saw it when that company IPO when we were on the exchange. They're doing deals together. They're acting like they don't like each other. But if BlackRock or Citadel or State Street or Piper won't buy the shares off of him, who is he going to buy them to? The retail traders on Wall Street? Wall Street bets are not fucking with him right now.
You know who might buy it?
Who?
A friend of the show. The good old folks at Robinhood.
Maybe.
He has supported him. He has not maybe outwardly supported him, but he's never said anything negative about what he's done.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that.
We'll see. All right. Now hit the like button.
Yes,
and
please.
Share, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you've all been waiting for. Nvidia has split officially, and now its new stock price is around $123. Which was a far cry from the $1,200 last week. It was going crazy. So, all right, now it's split. It's done. We've been talking about this for weeks. Now it's officially split. It's at $123-ish now, right?
Yep.
Second largest company in the world as far as market cap. So now the question is
closing in too.
At what price point should investors consider buying Nvidia? And what do we think now that all of the chaos of that situation is over? Should they go all in on Nvidia? Is now the time to go all in now that the split has occurred? So yeah, what's the deal with that?
I think Nvidia is one of the greatest companies that we've ever seen that is publicly traded. Like you said, second biggest market cap. They're closing in on Microsoft. I'm going to share an interesting stat here in a second.
I think we're going to say the same stat, bro.
Okay. price that I like to get in is 107.77. So $107.77 is where I like it. If you are in Stock Club, you go to eninvest.com. I will also give you the swing trading price and load the boat price for where it could go. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. The interesting thing that I see about Nvidia, if people should go all in, they're currently number 2, but by 2026, they should have more free cash flow than Microsoft.
That was it.
When I saw that, I said,
we read the same exact. Yep.
So for those you don't know, just the bag is bigger at Nvidia. They're still getting 45 to 48% profit margin, and they are a multi-trillion-dollar company. And you can argue that the chips are underpriced for what their market is willing to pay for them. So this company is going to keep growing. I didn't like him signing old girl's breasts at the conference. You was in your Kodak Drake bag to get back to, and your kids work at your company. How you explain to your mom and your kids you signed some girl titties at a conference? Maybe
Gotta do it
at InvestFest. Gotta do it. May yes in chat. I got you, baby. But I think this company is going to do incredibly well for the next, 6-7 years. I love this company almost as much as Apple. If I made you money from Apple and Microsoft, that crystal ball shining bright. People can say whatever the fuck they want to online, but when it comes to these results, boy, it is what it is. So yeah, 107.77. And I made a believe out of a few people. Shout out to my couple of my NFL guys who was unsure at first, and now you real sure. Let me get my testimonial and my check, please.
At
least 107.77 is where I like it.
We read the same exact article when I saw it, 2024, and I think we've spoken about this a lot, and we talk about the companies that have the largest operating cash flow, and we know mergers and acquisitions is one of those things that you can do with having that type of capital. Buying back stock is one of the things you can do, but most importantly is paying off debt. And so when we look at the debt and we look at the balance sheets, it's like, well, they're gonna. We always say Apple because the treasure chest is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
they're not in the Apple level yet as far as operating capital. Yes, they have passed them as far as market cap, but to pass it, and when we're talking about what does that number look like, right now they're at 40 billion in operating cash flow. I think next year the projection is like 67. Yeah, and then by the end of 25, it's like 87, which
87, 89, which is insane.
Which would pass Microsoft, and so it's crazy to think about this, but the growth potential, they're actually making more money than they're spending, right? We can see that, right? Their profit margins are coming in faster than the revenue.
Yep.
Which is like, this is like when you say the greatest, this might be the greatest company that
it's on track to give a comparison. This would be like if one company from 1920 through now had to get their motor from one company. Yeah, you got some other places you can get it from, but this is the motor. Like if there was like a V16, V24, V48 engine, great, and they're going off the shelves. And without their chips, there is no AI revolution.
No, it's so dominant, but the chips is, but the data centers as well.
Yep.
And I was having this conversation with a scientist in the field, and I was like, just I feel like there's something that's happening. Like every time we speak about semis, Intel gets brought up, and I'm just like, well, why does Intel keep getting brought up? So I'm watching this carefully. I think everybody should as well. That's the reason I'm bringing it up, is that when I looked at the CHIPS Act and I see Intel and the amount of money that they were giving, that's interesting to me. And so I'm trying to, like, yes, it's an American company and we want to see American companies do well. And then I thought to myself, like, what separates it? Obviously, they're outdated. They can't compete at the same level when it comes to efficiency of how they're producing the product. But what they do is they manufacture their own chips, which NVIDIA, right, and we spoke about last week, doesn't. So I'm thinking to myself, well, why are they pushing Intel so hard? Like it's like a dinosaur brand, right? It's a legacy brand, but it's American and they manufacture. The goal is to keep everything here. If NVIDIA is leading in data centers, right, and they don't manufacture, at some point, do you think Jensen's like, you know what? What's the last piece that we don't have?
Bring it all in house.
Like, what's the last piece, right? And if you do that, that's it, man. We're talking 4, 5 T, because you really don't need a TSM at the same level. Right now, you become the person that could potentially supply it if he's thinking at that level. I don't know that he is, But it makes me wonder why they keep talking about Intel, and I think that's the reason. Is this constant, hey, they manufacture, it's American made, they manufacture their own. So keep an eye on that.
Market cap of Intel is 110 billion. Profit margin 3.1%. Partnership is needed or they will die. Oh boy, on YouTube, are you ready to admit I was right about Intel yet or no? Just humbly.
Oh boy.
So
oh boy.
Yeah, you.
Nvidia. Okay, so you've done a lot of Nvidia options, right?
Yeah. I stacked them.
What does that mean, you stacked them?
So obviously
Dinner on Troy every time we go.
I ain't got it. You know the rules. So I had the 205 call that expires on the 21st of this month. But as it crossed certain thresholds, right, when I'm up 120, 200, 300, I think at this point, this is probably the highest percentage I've ever gained on an option call. I think I'm at like 1,900%, which is ridiculous on the 205. Yeah. It passes 400. Now I'm looking at calls inside the 400. So I get a 400 call. That goes up. I think we're both in there, right? You see how he just like calmly shook his head there, Ian? Right? So
smart.
That passes a threshold of 700. Well, now I'm looking at 800 calls, right? That goes up 100, 200%. Well, now I'm looking at the $1,000 call because I'm watching the price. Every time I'm taking in the information, I'm hearing new announcements. I'm watching all these analysts have their margins and their price targets increase. I want to know why. And if they're increasing and it's unanimous that they're increasing, all right, well, I've already made profit all the way up. So now I'm just stacking my calls. I'm stacking my calls, right? So if I lose percentage, yeah, you lose, but the percentage, like I said, 1,900%. Even if I fall down 100%, like you're still happy with 1,800, right?
Yeah, you're good.
And so I've already, the window's already built in. So now I'm just stacking the call. I might have a new stack coming, and I'll probably talk about it this week. But that's what I've been doing, just stacking the call. And as the stock rises, I obviously have shares as well. So that's when it's a complete stack. I own shares of the company, but I also have calls on the company as well. And so if you look inside your portfolio and you press company, everything will come up in alphabetical order, and I'll see my Nvidia shares, boom, and I'll see every call that I have in Nvidia. And so to me, that's how I'm looking at it as a stack.
So
you have to invest in this, trade the same ones that you're investing in.
Yeah.
Long term as well.
Your options class this Thursday.
Yes.
You're going to be talking about Nvidia? We're
going to be talking about Nvidia, but almost equally as important, we're going to be talking about a company that I said 2 weeks ago here on Market Mondays that we were waiting to look at how they were going to report. I said it last week. And then inside of the community, I said, look, I'm looking at this call and the company's name is CrowdStrike. If you look at CrowdStrike today, this thing almost positioned itself perfectly. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we looked at it, some of the research, but that was a key factor that I didn't let everybody know that I'll talk about this week. CrowdStrike hit its all-time high today. It's trading at 380. So the call that we were in is now up, and we can do this. I'll tell you what it got up to.
It's kind of 380, 20 right now.
A call that we made last week is now up 233%. So I want to pat myself on the back. Nobody even said it. See, yo, like, damn. You know what I'm saying? You see how they act?
If you don't do it, hey, and I want to be clear, I was the one who called a video. Yeah.
They Shadi didn't clap for you.
Put the
clap and chat.
The clap effect.
Yeah.
So this Thursday, 8:00, Troy will be teaching his options class that he does every single month. So EYL University.
That's fact.
You need to be in there.
Where we at? Live reading.
218. You need to be in there.
Percentage.
And join if you're not part. That's important.
Oh yeah, we're going over it.
All right. So how can investors approach AI and data centers outside of Nvidia?
I think it's a great question, and I love the question that I received from the person. But sometimes if you miss the big wave, there is no wave underneath. Now, of course, there's a bunch of other companies you can invest in, right? I love AMD still. Jensen and Lisa are cousins. Great. You can look at Intel if you're a believer in the old technology and the old dinosaur companies. I don't. You can look at TSM. But the most important lesson, please write this down, don't miss the fucking wave. If banks would have went to Raucous on fire wouldn't have did as well as if he was with G Unit. Like sometimes you can't miss the wave. Like I was going through my presentations from other Invest Fest. I talked about Nvidia the second Invest Fest. Look at how much money you may have missed out on just not listening. That's why it's important. I was saying this on Stock Club call yesterday. You have to block out the noise, because if the noise don't give you the highest return on capital and on your dollar, what difference does it make? It's cool. Now I'm seeing even people who may not like me are talking about Nvidia. I was on that shit years ago, and at AMD personally, sub $16. Like you can't miss the wave sometimes, and we're seeing this with Apple. Apple is making the adjustment now. What if they would have partnered with OpenAI 2 years ago? Would have been better instead of working on that damn EV car that never came out. So don't miss the wave. You can go to TSM, you can go to AMD, great. There's other companies you can invest in on the data center side, but you need to be invested in the top 2 in the space. And if you have a clear winner, like there is with Nvidia, you now have to find a position and spot to get in now and not get the 15 best player in the space.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's true. But I like the approach of yes. So the person that does miss the wave, like yes, I think we don't say I feel like that's the obvious, right? Like don't miss the wave. You don't want to miss it.
I'm going to cut you off and quit missing the show.
That's also true.
Like if only 20 of y'all applied to get $100,000, I don't want to hear you complain about why didn't you tell us and we do the show every week for free. If it was up to me, we would be charging. Should have been charging for this, for Nvidia alone. However much y'all think our charge is too much, is worth it off Nvidia alone. I don't want to hear nothing. I called a fall of Tesla. They said it was crazy. The cocaine jokes about Elon was crazy until it's not. And now he may not get that payout from them shareholders.
Yeah, they brought that thing. What, 13 million? He wanted like 4 or 5 billion.
Yeah,
crazy,
like, bro, I'm not giving you that money.
They said they're not trying to prove it. I was saying, like, I think if we look at AI, and not just Nvidia, but as an ecosystem, I like to look at that in its totality, right? Yes, Nvidia is leading the charge and is responsible for a lot of the growth that we've seen inside that space. But what are the things that Nvidia is going to need to be as efficient as possible? Obviously, we know TSM. Even last week, where we saw ASML, right? I talked about AMD's that relationship, or the TSM relationship with ASML. You know, TSM was saying that perhaps we'll make the machines that will go inside our foundries. Well, they're saying, okay, if you want to do that, we're going to make even faster machines.
Yep.
Right. And so these companies are needed inside of that ecosystem. So the more companies you can find inside of that ecosystem that are needed, I think even Super Semi, right? That wasn't a company 3 years we were talking about, but it helps with the efficiency. And everything's about speed. Success loves speed. Business loves speed. They want speed and efficiency. If you can have those 2 qualities, you're going to be successful. So what is going to help a company like Nvidia, a company like AMD, a company like, what's going to help them become more efficient and doing things faster? Find those companies, because there is an ecosystem that is being built around this technology. So you have to be diligent. But like I'm talking about, you hear, go read, go research, figure out why it's needed, because that's where the wins are. That we know that's the wave. If the wave is still moving, then those companies are moving.
Nvidia, KLAC is another ticker, the company KLA, TSM,
KLAC
ASML, and you're good. I know some of you are trying to lean on Micron. I wouldn't do it. And
Broadcom,
AMD,
right?
Broadcom will give you exposure.
Yeah.
The companies we've all talked about the last 3 or 4 years. If you go to eninvest.com, you'll get some of these exclusives and be way ahead of the curve. Shout out to those of you who are up 600-700% off a long term before you even got into the option part. Then if you go to the options class, then you can be up another 600-700%. Go to InvestFest, look good, and then you won't even need the $100,000.
Nah, it's crazy. Like those 2 things. If you have all those things in a row, I'll just say this last piece about the investment, right? So that those Nvidia shares I bought when they were $211.
Yep.
Those shares are up, I think, I don't even have to guess. I'll just tell you what they are. Hold one sec. Those shares are up 474%, right? Those shares. A month prior, I bought that 205 call. That 205 call is up 1,900%, right? So the shares are at, and that's great. That's great. That's phenomenal, right? 470% in two years. That's incredible.
I can divide
100% in 2 years is out of this world. Like that's the difference in having shares, which is great, and having an understanding and utilizing options.
Yeah, then if you have the features on top of it for a cash flow trade, then you can be up another 30 or 40 grand. But this is the big lesson out of
that's the stuff.
What 20 people applying. If y'all want to apply to get 100 grand, I know you're not doing what you need to do on a daily basis to get to freedom. You're not doing it. Put it in chat. I deserve to be free, but you got to do the fucking work that comes with being free. The boy flew from Miami to Boston, made the game, went out to the Rucker game, and then made it here. And you're saying it's too hard when I'm spoon feeding you the information?
Literally.
They're giving you 100 grand. What? Don't be mad. I get on that stage and get the 100. I don't want to hear nothing. The vultures and it was rigged. All that. Yes. Grifter.
Yeah, they said you coming at 4. No, I'm part of the pitch competition.
I'm part of the pitch. What?
He made it to the finals.
Crazy. Can we talk about that in that Will Smith clip? Like what it takes to be free. A lot of people say that you want to be free, but are you doing the work every day? And when you do it, the work becomes fun. And I've always said it, the thing that makes trading and investing really fun for me, I get to hear and watch people not take the right action. And I use that as a superpower to make sure that I do the right thing.
This is different.
Put the time in every day, man. Stop making all them excuses. If I'm telling you and putting even when people are like, yo, you charge too much. This show is free. Gave you everyone. I told y'all about the downfall of Kathy. Boy, she should have listened to me too. The downfall of Tesla. Cool. The one thing, he was wrong on Square. Nvidia made up for 400 motherfucking squares. Get in the circle. That's what I'm going to say. Stay close. Get in the circle and win.
Stay close.
Ron Kitty remind me of somebody else who had them bad options too, but I'm a chill.
So
Shotty tired my bullshit today.
The show is free, and a lot of people's lives have been changed. Our lives have been changed.
And shout to y'all. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, thousandaires. There's some millionaires. I'm sure there's some multimillionaires. So the people who are doing the work continue to do it. The people who have sat on the sideline and watching what's the next thing, right? Like even now, like last week, that was something that literally happened in real time. It was put into a platform. And I'm talking about 4 days later, you're up 200%. Where in the world does that happen?
And then y'all got the nerve to charge $100. I'm like, bro, change that price. What?
The only feedback I got was from Mike, and he told me that I should have called him personally. And I said, then you should be in the community and reading the chat. So I got him on that. But shout out to everybody that took advantage. We got more to come though. That's
more to come.
But this is another part, and I think you asked me this question. And you're like, well, why don't you do as many trades? And I said, number one, the strategy that I take, it has to be precise. Like when I shoot, I cannot miss.
You can't miss, yep.
Right? I can't afford to miss because I don't think the average person can afford to miss. So I have to put myself in a position where it's like, if I shoot, it's got to work.
Yep.
I have to work. And so
less trades is more. Yep.
I do less, but when I pull the trigger, it's going to be for a reason. And you'll see why.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people think more is better, but when less is actually more. Even on Stock Club Call yesterday, someone was like, well, when I'm trading off or bad, I'm taking 15 trades a month. When I'm doing really well, I'm doing between 4 to 6. All the great traders are going to be in the same range of trades. Yeah.
It's a risk management too, right? If I had 17 different trades, that's
a lot to manage.
It's tough. I mean, like,
and if 3 goes wrong, it drags down your entire portfolio.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling.
Yep.
It's bad.
Okay. So question from the audience. How do you determine buy and sell zones in short-term trade for long-term investment and a long-term investment? So how do you manage the buy and sell zones for a short-term trade and for a long-term investment?
Watch this show. 72 EMA, 200-day moving average, 400 moving average. Ideally, if it drops to the 400, you want to buy there. 200 will be second. 72 moving average will be third. How long do you want to hold? 5 years. It's not my fault if you pull a wrong kitty and buy a bullshit company because you wanted the weed companies and biopharma. No, we're here to hold for a long period of time. Do the same thing with your trades and you're good. Please put it in chat. Investing and trading is not complicated. We make it that way. 72, 200, 400. When I asked y'all, hey, how often should I put out content? Like right in the beginning. Shaw was like, shit, every day. There was no more follow-up after that. So you can do 8, 12, and 3. Start there, you'll be good. Okay, good. 8, 12, and 3. If the team don't have something out, I'll be on that. Y'all not getting paid. What's up? It's 805. Cool. You want to get paid? You want to get paid on time and send an invoice? Make sure to post up. Cool. Some things are so simple, but the hardest part is like we want to make something more complicated. Well, what about if the halving hits and then the moon cycles in a crescent position? 200-day moving average, 472. Buy zone has to be based on time, or if you get to 500% return, you want to potentially exit there. Your first exit can be 100%. That's it. Or watch the show, and we'll tell you when to exit. Yeah. If I've made you money, please put yes in chat.
Yeah, that'd be like the rule of thumb. The first rule of thumb: get back your initial investment. If you get back your initial investment, you don't feel there's not a loss. You've got back what you invested.
It's up. Even people like, yo, y'all doing Invest Fest this year? Yeah. Market Mondays on yeah. What you doing today? The same thing every Monday. Stock Club. Yep. Consistency wins, man. Consistency wins.
So how do you feel about BlackRock and Citadel supporting a Texas stock exchange? They said it's going to be a rival to NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, a lot less regulation. And I think they've raised like 70 million, something like that already. So what's your thoughts on a new Texas stock exchange?
I thought we could talk about part of some blackout too, but my first thought was in times of compression, you're going to see a lot more collaboration. We talk about it all the time, like collaboration beats competition. They're two of the biggest market makers. I don't know if they'll ever compete with NASDAQ, but I'm wondering in that crypto space, what do they have planned? Because I don't think they can take down the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. They have too much of a lead based on time. But I did find it interesting at the same time when Roy and Kitty and all the retail investors were saying, we're going to overthrow this industry. The powers that be came together and said, okay, well, let's put an exchange in Texas and let's see how much we'll let you overthrow our industry that we took over. The vultures are clever. Y'all can say what y'all want to, but when they get to collaborating in them little back rooms, it's tough. So I don't know if it would be great for retail traders. A lot of people are asking about 24-hour trading. I want to tell you now, futures have always been open 24 hours since I've been trading them. You're still going to have the American Open, American Close, London, and Asian session as the prime time. So just because you have more hours to trade doesn't give you better moves. But I think it's really interesting when we're having compression, tightening in the markets. There's only maybe 14 to 15 companies that are doing incredibly well on the market. They now choose to make an exchange to get more dominance while they own majority of real estate. But yeah, what do I know? But it's a lot more time. Going back to the BRICS conversation too, there's a lot more collaboration in areas that we didn't see prior to.
All right. Yeah, Texas. Somebody said in the comments, there was like, the United States is going to have like a civil split and Texas is going to be the financial capital of the red states.
The Lone Star State.
I can see it.
Texas,
Governor Abbott called me. Send me some money, my boy.
Miami.
I'm not a Republican.
I don't know if Miami's considered a red state. I mean,
it may flip.
It's been flipped, but it's not hardcore red. It's been red for
the last
10
couple
years.
of cycles.
But Miami is definitely a financial capital for sure, and is getting more and more into the financial capital situation. And Austin, Texas has been a hub. You know, Texas, no state income tax in the state of Texas.
Charlotte, another financial capital.
Yeah,
the number 2 financial capital outside of New York, which is a lot of people.
Number 2 banking.
Banking capital. Yeah. Banking capital, which is most people have no idea. But the money's moving.
Yep.
What do you think about Celsius as a stock, and do you believe it will continue to perform well over the next few years?
I like the stock. I told you guys about it a couple months ago.
Yeah, this was on our list a few weeks ago. Maybe a few months ago. Yep.
Yeah, doing incredibly well. If you haven't had a chance to buy it, I would probably wait for a low to boat price would be 47.56 if it ever got that low, and then on like a shorter side, if it got down to 57, I would like it. I like it long term. I think it ran up too fast because in February it went from 62 up to 95 really quickly. Strong business. Monster has had one of the greatest returns of all time for any publicly traded company. I don't know if Celsius will mimic that, but they will do well over time. Buy at the right price points and hold for a long period of time. And I'm gonna be super honest, man. I don't know a show. Shout out to Mary and everybody at NBC, Universal, and CNBC. But I don't know any show on CNBC or that has outperformed us return wise either. Not that hard. Just follow the blueprint. VO, VTI, AMD, Nvidia, ASML. Like back in the day, Rashad gave you Franklin Dynatech. Man, our batting percentage is insane. Insane. Just hold for the long term. Celsius is great. Wingstop is great.
Can we stay there
Eli
for 2
Lilly,
seconds?
amazing. Of course.
What will you be talking about at InvestFest?
Hold on before you do that, because I want to. This happened, and it might have been like glossed over by some people, but PepsiCo, because we're talking about Celsius, we're talking about drinks, and I'm thinking like recently, it used to be Coke. Coke obviously is a brand, and Pepsi is number 2, and then everybody else is number 3. And for the first time in like maybe 30 years, Pepsi is not number 2. It's now Dr. Pepper has surpassed it.
Which is, I didn't know that many people drink Dr. Pepper.
I've never had Dr. Pepper, but every time I watch football in the South, I always see Dr. Pepper commercials. So that tells me that the marketing budget is ridiculous, which means they're bringing a lot of money, but it's past it. PepsiCo is owned by Keurig. I mean, not PepsiCo. Dr. Pepper is owned by Keurig. What are your thoughts on that passing as far as like the Celsius would probably be in that top 10, but now PepsiCo falling down. How far of a fall do you think it'll have?
Pepsi's been sliding since the Keurig Dr. Pepper merger was really interesting. I like the brands. I don't know if I would put them ahead of Pepsi yet. Pepsi has, let me look. I mean, it could potentially fall down to 155. If I can get it there, I will. Or let's say 150 flat. I would love it. They've been falling the last few days as a result, but Pepsi, if you look at the overall return for the last 4 or 5 years, they've been doing incredibly well. And going back to like 2009, they were at $54. That's a great return. That's a great like safe return to get 3x over that time period. So I don't know if the Keurig Dr. Pepper will take them over in terms of like market cap, but I do think we're starting to see like some change in of guard in major industries. And I know Coke was one of Buffett's favorites. I don't love it personally. I like Pepsi a lot better, but even Coke as a stock has performed incredibly well. So that entire soft drink space, even though it's not the healthiest for you, the stocks have done incredibly well.
Yeah, when you think Keurig, most people think coffee. It's the first thing I think of, right? We've had plenty of those machines in my household for sure. But then reading that, once I saw that happened, it's like, all right, well, let's rabbit hole it. Who owns them? Where's that? What was the acquisition for? It was like 18 billion, I think, like in 2017. So return on investment, I would say, right? They're starting to see the market share move. You're seeing it everywhere. Like I said, if you watch, football is the king, obviously, as far as live sporting events in America, for sure. And if you watch college football, it's Dr. Pepper everything. Every Saturday, that's the commercial that comes on. It's either that or Allstate in between games. So
for sure.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, go ahead though.
Okay. Yes. Shout out to Dr. Pepper. What will you be talking about at InvestFest?
I will be talking about live trading. So I'll be walking people through. Of course, I'm going to do long-term investing for about 20 slides, but I'm going to walk through futures trading. So like how to use a short target, how to use a long target, what happened. I'm going to show a live loss, going to show live wins, how to recover. I think I've talked about the long-term investing part ad nauseum, but I think the part and piece that people really want to get is the trading part down. So that's what I'm going to be covering. And I'm going to be giving away 10 grand cash live on stage. So I'm looking forward to that. I started working on the stage show element last night. Can't wait. I can't wait. I've been working on this presentation probably for like 2 months now, so I'm super excited. And for those if you've been there, like I put on the show when it comes to the shows, so get there early, be well rested, get your notepad out. I personally want to make my presentation worth the return on investment for the entire Invest weekend. That's my aim. Mav went up there, went crazy. Oh, excuse me. Who was it? Was Mav up there?
Mav was up there. He was up there with Lonzo Ball and Humble.
Rich went crazy.
Rich went crazy. Yeah, Rich went crazy.
Yeah,
Humble went crazy too. Shout out to Humble.
Humble did too. Yeah. So I've been watching the interviews back. Like, okay, I gotta add some of this to the bag. And, shout out to my Red Panda family. We're gonna be back on stage and we're gonna kill this shit.
Shout out to the photographers at InvestFest. They had a report about Lonzo Ball paying for Angel Reese's technical foul of the day, and
that's fire.
When I saw it was him at InvestFest.
Yeah.
Shout out to Johnny Nunes. He's in the algorithm.
Heavy,
yo. All over the world. I'm like, damn.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Jesus.
All right. Is now a good time to invest in stocks in India?
I get the sentiment, and I think it's a great question. I want to invest in companies that have exposure, that are multinational corporations that have exposure to India. I don't love their ETFs yet. I think maybe in another 4 or 5 years, they probably would take off. It's not a top 10 investment for me, but companies like Apple, of course, Microsoft, Walmart, have exposure to India. Another thing we was talking about the stock club called that they own Flipkart, and Flipkart has Shopton Co has a majority market share there in India. So I like companies that have exposure to India opposed to investing in the ETFs directly. But I do think India's economy probably is the most important over the next 10 to 15 years for growth. And that's why we're seeing a lot of our favorite companies here have flagship headquarters there.
Yeah, and the market is something very impressive when it comes to India. I think that was just like surprising statistic that like 85% of option trades are happening inside of India, which I was just blown away by. But I mean, if you look at the history of their market over the past, I'd say 5 years, you've seen a historic climb.
Absolutely.
I'm just not big on international investing at this point in my career.
At this point, yeah.
At this point,
yeah.
At some point, maybe I will, but not at this point.
Yeah, because any major corporation, they're going to have exposure to all the major companies. Because like remember 4 years ago, it was what about exposure to China? But if you don't know the policies that are pushed in the other countries, it can have a dramatic effect. Like Alibaba should be much higher than what it is right now. They still haven't bounced back. So yeah, for that reason, I have to stay in the States when it comes to investing.
All right. Well, let's bring a guest up. We have Congressman Jamaal Bowman. What's up, my brother?
What up? What up? How y'all doing?
My brother, how are you?
How you doing today, man?
I'm well, man. How y'all doing? Good to be with you.
Always good to be seen, even better to be heard.
Good. So yeah, United States Congressman Jamaal Bowman, who's he's the congressman of our district where we live. And he's in a primary race that is coming up in a couple of weeks. So interesting times that we're living in as far as the United States government, fiscal responsibility, issues abroad, variety of different things happening. So political season, we like to talk to the people that are actually making laws. So the congressmen and women, they actually make laws. If you wasn't familiar with the political process. So okay. First and foremost, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Of course.
So okay, you're in a tight race right now, and let's just get right to it. I know we're gonna talk about a couple other things, but I want to talk about what this political funding situation really is, and who's really moving the needle. Because they put $30 million on you, right?
I was taken aback by that. I was telling the guys right before the shows they have an ad that's attacking Jamaal Bowman. I'm like, that's a friend of the show.
So all right, they put $30 million on you. So what does this mean? Break this down in layman terms for the people to understand, how big money is really influencing elections.
No, absolutely, especially in congressional elections. So, one quick point of clarification: the election is not weeks away, it's actually days away. So, the first day of early voting is this Saturday. So, that's Saturday, June 15th, literally 6 days away. And so, we're treating the first day of early voting as election day. So, please get out there and vote, everyone who's watching. So, when you run for office at any level, you got to raise money to run your campaign. So that money goes towards paying staff. It goes towards getting flyers and palm cards, posters, banners, mailers to people's homes, advertisement. It goes to a variety of things. When you run for Congress, the most that someone can donate to your campaign is $3,300 for the primary and another $3,300 for the general if you win the primary. But there are organizations that work outside of your campaign that are called super PACs and C4s. Those C4s can raise an unlimited amount of money. They do not have to publicly disclose who gives them money, and then they can operate on the campaign's behalf and or give that money to super PACs, which operate on the campaign's behalf. So in my race, when you talk about that $30 million number, most of that is coming from the C4 and the super PAC that is being spent on behalf of the person who is running against me. That is not his campaign money. His campaign money can be anywhere from like a couple $1 million, most likely, right? Usually a couple $1 million. And he spends that for flyers and mailers and ads. But then if you have a C4 or a super PAC that is well endowed, they can spend money on his behalf, which is what's happening in this race. Most of that 30 million is happening from the super PAC side of it. And this is more money than they have ever spent in their history. And I'm speaking specifically about the group APAC.
So, wait, okay. So let's get straight to this point.
Yeah, I think you said they though. So
APAC.
Yes.
Who is APAC for the audience, and why would APAC spend 30 million allegedly? Why would APAC spend $30 million to defeat Jamaal Bowman?
Yes. So APAC stands for, and I want to get this right, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. They are a one-issue organization, Israel. They support the state of Israel. And their lobbying in Congress goes to ensure that Israel continues to receive $3.8 billion a year in military funding and whatever additional billions or money they need for whatever it is that they want to do. That's who APAC is. They are targeting me and spending so much money against me because I called for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and because I'm calling out and fighting to end the genocide and the famine that is happening in Gaza. They are not used to members of Congress criticizing Israel or speaking up against APAC. Now that they have members of Congress doing that, they are targeting those members of Congress and targeting other people around the country. So they don't just fund congressional races, they fund state races, county races, local races, etc. They've been around for 60 years, advocating for Israel and Israel only. And they've pledged to spend $100 million this election cycle, with the majority of that going towards your boy, Congressman Bowman.
30% of what they're going to raise, they're willing to spend on you, which is, and I mean, when we talk about wealth, and we'll have a conversation about that, I'm sure, but we don't have super PACs, and that's something that we've had plenty of conversations about, even educating people on what they are, how to form them, and how to figure out what exactly they'll be for, right? We need to know the things that we want. When you hear those type of numbers, 30 million, which is a lot of money to be spending on a local, we could not a local election, but a regional election, right? Right. How do you combat that? Is it, hey, I need to raise more, we have to become strategic? Because I've seen their ads every morning I see your ads too, right? I love like when it's like you're going back to the schools and education as part of the campaign. How do you combat that? Like, what's the strategy to run against somebody that seems to have capital that's almost pretty extensive? I wouldn't say unlimited, but very extensive.
Yeah, no. Just to give you some more context before I answer your question. So they spent $10 million on ads within a 4-week period just a couple of weeks ago. That is more money than President Biden has spent on broadcast all year. So literally within a 4-week period, they were trying to bombard people with the message that they wanted to send out about my record, which is complete misinformation and disinformation and propaganda, not accurate at all. But that gives you an idea. Comparing it to President Biden overall spending for the year, it's not even close. And so you can't compete with them dollar for dollar. But what you can do is you can have an incredible field operation and ground game that literally goes door to door. And so for us, we spend a lot of time and effort on our field operation. We spend money on field to make sure we are knocking doors in particular areas, but then we also have an incredible volunteer army of at least 1,000 volunteers who are making tens of thousands of calls and knocking tens of thousands of doors every few days. And so that's how you combat it. They got money, we got people. This is the many versus the money. And most of the district supports my policies as it relates to Gaza, for example. They support a permanent ceasefire. They support, me wanting to fight to bring that $3.8 billion back here to help people with, entrepreneurship opportunities, affordable housing, affordable childcare, fully funding schools, et cetera, et cetera. Most of the American people are with us. The challenge is they have all the money and they also have media infrastructure in place where they can, quickly pivot and weaponize something I said or did against us as well, which is part of what they're doing during this campaign.
With hindsight being 2020, do you regret making some of the statements that you did, and maybe that could have prevented the attack, or do you feel as if no matter what was stated, they were going to attack you through media?
Yeah, no, I don't regret it at all. I'm not in Congress to be comfortable or to be quiet. I'm not in Congress to just go along and get along. If I'm not there fighting for justice, like racial justice, economic justice, a just foreign policy, then I'm not supposed to be there if I'm not there fighting for those things. So no, I don't regret it at all. And as a matter of fact, in my opinion, this is exactly what we needed to be doing at this time. This is an example of us carrying on the legacy of our ancestors who fought and died for everything from the end of slavery to the end of Jim Crow, to the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act. I mean, look at what happened during the 60s with so many martyrs, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, and so many others. And so this is kind of my responsibility, I think, as, not just a Black man in Congress, but a certain type of Black consciousness in Congress. I'm supposed to be doing this. And I actually take it as a badge of honor that they're spending more money than they ever spent in history to get me out of office.
So let me ask you this. Okay. So 3.8 billion, you said, goes to Israel?
3.8 billion a year. Plus, let me just add real quick before you ask your question. Plus, whenever something occurs out of the ordinary, AIPAC writes a bill for Congress to appropriate more money for Israel. So during my first term, we annually, no matter what, if everything's quiet, calm, 3.8 billion is already earmarked. But my first term, Hamas sent rockets to attack Israel, and Israel had to use some of its Iron Dome defense resources. And right after that, AIPAC wrote a bill so that we could send an additional billion to Israel on top of the 3.8 billion. Right now, with the attacks happening in Gaza right now, we just passed a bill sending an additional 14 billion to Israel, almost like to help them re-up their military resources after this conflict. So that whenever they need it, we got it. That's how it goes.
Okay. Okay. So a lot of money gets sent to Israel, right? Why is so much money being sent to Israel as opposed to other countries, let's say the Congo or the Sudan? And why you're in the inside of this, right? I'm asking you a question that I kind of already know the answer to, but I want you to articulate it. Why are some countries prioritized, like Ukraine, in their fight against Russia or Israel, or other countries, prioritized as far as U.S. dollars going, U.S. military support, and then other countries that have conflicts, like Sudan, who's in the midst of the worst humanitarian crisis right now, and Congo, who's also in the midst of another humanitarian crisis, or even Haiti, who doesn't even have a government right now. Why is this not prioritized on the board the same way that a Ukraine would be, or other country?
We give priority and preference to European nations first and our European allies first. And we also give priority to settler colonial nations as well, like Canada, like Australia, like Israel. Western nations, another term for European nations, siphon and extract resources from Black and brown global South nations, and give them back pennies on the dollar for those resources, like cobalt in the Congo, for example, and other natural resources. And so that's the design of our foreign policy. We extract resources from the continent of Africa, from Central and South America, from the global South. Those resources build wealth in the West, which are European nations. And again, we give them back pennies on the dollar. So the money to Israel is part of supporting another settler colonial project, which Israel is, and is also part of securing our interests, America's interests in the Middle East. Israel's in the middle of many mostly Muslim countries. Those Muslim countries have a precious natural resource that we need, which is oil. In order to make sure that oil continues to come to us in a way that's beneficial to America without so much conflict, we need an ally there that can help do that. That is Israel. This is couched under the idea that we also support Israel because of the Holocaust and Jewish persecution, and they needed a safe state and safe place to call home, which is part of the conversation as well. And then our ongoing fight against anti-Semitism. However, that's only part of it. The other part of it, and there's a quote from President Biden when he was Senator Biden on this issue, was where he says, if we didn't have an Israel, we would have to invent an Israel to protect America's interests. So it's a geopolitical game to protect America's interests, which is resources, land, and power.
So when I hear this, the first thing it makes me think, like, hopefully people are aware, but if not, having the education around it is super important. And then the next thing was like, how do we evoke change? How do we put people who are change agents in position to make sure that there's people speaking on behalf of people who feel, that is systemic, right? We can see systemically how this really doesn't benefit people that look like us. The other part of it is when I'm looking at a campaign that's being run against you and I'm hearing things said, right? When I know the character of a man, like I know you as a principal first, like I said, people know our history. Like I saw you as a principal, a man, an educator, a father. How much of the defamation that is inside of these campaigns is, number one, to attack you, but also to say to a younger generation, like, if you are to now be in that position that Representative Bowman is in, this is also the fate that could happen to you, and shy people away from participating in the process?
It's a great question and a great point. This is not only about me. This is about what I represent. Working class, Black man, raised by a single mom, educated for 20 years, fighting for working class issues and issues of justice and equality and humanity overall. One that's been outspoken on a number of issues and not afraid to challenge the status quo. Their ads, their attacks, their investments in this race is all about reminding everyone, if you come for us, this is what you're going to get. And, you know, I see it manifested in my district. No other elected official in my district has taken any of the stances I've taken in terms of calling for a permanent ceasefire or some of the other things we fight for, like reparations. You know, that's not something that many elected officials in my district, if any, are talking about or leading, being loud on or championing in government. And so, yeah, the message is don't even try it. And that's why it is imperative that we win this race. And I'm going to be very, very clear. Over 10,000, way over 10,000, maybe over 20,000. We only have numbers for 10,000 Black and Latino men in the district who have never voted before. Now, I know the reason they've never voted, right? Because the system has failed them over and over and over again, and it's designed to fail them. I get that. But for the first time in me, you actually have someone who's just like you in office trying to fight for the things we need and care about. And so if those over 20,000 Black and Latino men were to begin to participate, not only do they help me win re-election, but they begin to change the political calculus in the district and in the county and begin to build power in the county. If everyone who was registered to vote, or if everyone 18 over got registered and actually voted, or the vast majority, we would not have big money in politics controlling politics the way we currently do. We would actually have a democracy, but we don't have a democracy now. We have an oligarchy because it's the wealth that's controlling politics. And you have some outliers like me, Ayanna Presley, AOC, and the squad, for example, who are like the outlier stat. And that's why that $100 million that AIPAC is spending, they're coming directly for us because we are part of inspiring a generation. I'm the only male. It's 8 women, 7 women, 1 dude. That's me. We're all people of color or black and brown. 2 are Muslim. 1 wears a hijab. Those are the people AIPAC is targeting more than everybody else. That's not an accident.
What do you say to the percentage of the audience that may hear you tonight, but still may feel like them voting or being involved in the process of democracy doesn't benefit them? Any words of encouragement or insights to give them of how they can make change, even if they feel like the system is against them?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it because historically it hasn't. But I'm a clear example of the opposite of that. I've only been in Congress 3 years. We've brought over $1 billion back to the district and specifically are seeking to invest those dollars into the pockets of marginalized people, Black and brown people in the district, because AIPAC and my opponent don't want that to happen. They are spending more money against me than they've ever spent in their history. And I've only been there 3 years. So that shows the amount of impact we have had since we've been in office. And they know the longer I'm in office, the more power I am going to generate and the more resources I'm going to be able to bring and the more I'm going to be able to empower others. And what's great about this, in 2020, when I ran for office, we tripled voter turnout from 2018 to 2020, elections every 2 years. So from 2018 to 2020, we tripled voter turnout. What's been great about the ads, Brother Troy, to your question, when I walk around in the Black community, I can't even get a half a block before I'm surrounded by Black men in particular. Like, yo, we see those ads. That's some bullshit. We see how they coming at you. We got you. We gonna come out and vote, blah, 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 blah. So what they're doing is, because at some point it's diminishing returns. You run all these ads and people begin to know, like, this must be some BS. Plus, we're telling them on our side, this is big money, mostly Republican money, by the way, that funds AIPAC. And let me not even say Republican money, fascist money, like the kind of Republican money that didn't want to certify the 2020 election. like that kind of money. It's funding AIPAC. And so the hope is, and we're being strategic about this, we get those Black men out, we get those young people out, we get young people of color out in record numbers, just like 2020, and we're able to win. And when we do that, inshallah, when we do that, it changes the trajectory for a generation, most likely.
So let me ask you this. Affordability in Black, and you were on the reparation panel at InvestFest last year with Ben Crump, yourself, a bunch of other people. That was a very high-powered panel. So thank you for coming to InvestFest last year and speaking on the so you've been championing reparations for a while. But affordability and Black wealth, this is issues that's extremely important. In your district, it's important. When you look at your district, is one of the wealthiest districts in America, but also has some of the poorest neighborhoods in America at the same time, right?
Same time.
You got Eden Wall projects. You got, Scarsdale, right? You got Mount Vernon, and then you got Ardsley, right? And it's actually a tale of America and how separate but so close within a couple of miles. You have some of the wealthiest places, and then you have the projects, right? And the wealthy people will never come to the projects, and the people in the projects probably will never be in the wealthy people's house ever, right? So talk about, and it's always these neighborhoods that are poor, Yonkers, South Yonkers, it's always Black people and Spanish people, Black and Latino people. They always permeate these neighborhoods. So talk about affordability, Black wealth creation, and what your agenda is to kind of bridge that.
Yeah, I want to start with the issue of affordable housing. So there's an affordable housing crisis across the country, and it's really manifested in Westchester County. We need about 80,000 units in the county. My opponent hasn't really done much about that, even though he's been county executive for a number of years. One of the challenges to providing truly affordable housing, so working class housing, or let's call it low income housing, right? Those who work full time, don't make much money, but need housing, need affordable housing at a rate, in terms of federal policy, 30% of salary. That's capped at 30% of salary towards housing. We just introduced a bill today that's capping, looking to cap rental costs at 20% of salary to go even lower. But what happens is places like Scarsdale, places like Rye, the wealthier areas, they don't allow affordable housing to be built in their communities. They only want a certain type of culture, and this is a quote from them, to live in those communities. They don't want buildings, even if they're small buildings. They don't want multi-families. They want single family to maintain the culture that they have in those communities. But if we're going to really have affordable housing to meet the needs of everyone in the district, we should be building in those areas as well. So that's a key important point. Another point is the fact that the reason why we don't have more affordable housing is because the housing stock is low, and it's low by design from Wall Street to keep prices up. We believe housing is a fundamental human right. And if you pay taxes and you live in America, a wealthy nation, you should be able to have affordable, dignified housing. As you know, childcare also isn't affordable for the working class. Utilities are crazy. Food is crazy. Transportation, it's hard to, people are just working to survive right now. So there's a couple ways to handle that. One is making sure corporations and the wealthy pay their fair share. We're not saying take all their money in taxes, but they should be paying a little more so that we could build more affordable housing and deal with utilities and all of that. Right now, that's not happening. The other part of it, Black wealth building, is not just about financial literacy. It's also about public investments in repairing the harms that have happened historically in America. And so reparations is about responding to redlining. Redlining is when our communities were isolated and devalued simply because they were Black. We need to now reinvest federal dollars in those areas to rebuild those areas and allow them to begin a bootstrapping system of building wealth within their own neighborhoods. The federal government has subsidized building white wealth since the beginning of America. It's never done that for Black people. So that needs to happen. That's what reparations is all about. And then finally, the issue of entrepreneurship is really, really key. But the issue of entrepreneurship around new ideas is really, really key as well. And so financial literacy is what we need and all of that, proper investments. But we need new ideas. We need to build and design new products and services that America and the world needs to help us build wealth. Similar to this apparatus we're working on now, both the hardware and the software that we're using has built wealth for individuals and groups. We need to do the same thing as well. And to me, the pathway to that is technology. And because technology, to me, is still in its infant stage, is still like a gold rush type of space. But this is why I advocate so much for STEM education in our schools, because we got brilliant kids, but we got to make sure they're thinking on an entrepreneurship level, not just a worker level.
I agree with you. I want to talk about a population that obviously is near dear to all of us. That is kind of the crown jewel of most communities, and that's our women and our children. So you spoke about financial literacy. I know both you and I come from an educational background, but we don't talk about women's issues enough. Whether that be, and I know from a general election that's going to be a heavy topic, and from a local and state election, I'm assuming that it'll be just as important. So when we talk about reproductive rights, we talk about gender bias, we talk about maternity leave, all these issues. How are we combating that from the state level, from your perspective?
The state is doing pretty well with reproductive justice overall. If a woman chooses to seek an abortion in our state, she has the pathway to do that without being criminalized or targeted or whatever. So reproductive rights in the state are pretty strong. Where we are not strong is maternal mortality. And what happens with maternal mortality overall, and also maternal mortality with Black women. Like, Black women die of childbirth in New York State at a rate that's incredibly high. Like, the country, across the country, is very high, but in New York State, it's incredibly high. And that's a major problem, because we still have racism and racist practices within our healthcare system overall. The way Black women are treated, their so-called tolerance to pain, their relationships with OBGYNs, the lack of birth workers, the lack of midwives when Black women are seeking to have a child is a real problem. And then the overall medical field and the lack of bias and racial anti-racist training from doctors and nurses and OBGYNs is really critical to this. And so, our healthcare system has a history of racism, from Henrietta Lacks to the Tuskegee experiment, to the what's the term? I'm forgetting the term now. The sterilization of Black and brown women in our country. There's a horrible history with the healthcare system. And there still is now, which is why a lot of us don't even seek healthcare, right? And so, the state has to do way more in terms of anti-racist training and funding to deal with the issue of infant mortality, maternal morbidity. That's a big issue.
If my last question is, if the hedge funds are part of the reason why we have a housing crisis in our communities, and they own part of the technology companies that could even the playing field for us, how hard is it going to be to pass the bill when the giants that we are fighting owns everything that we're trying to disrupt?
Very, 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 very hard. Very hard. Even if the way Congress works in the House of Representatives, which is where I am, all you need is a simple majority. So you get 218 votes, you can pass a bill. In the Senate, you need a super majority. You need 60-40. And the reason why that is still in place is because of something called the filibuster, where a bill may not even get introduced or debated in the Senate because you don't have 60 senators ready to even consider the bill. This is where this issue of minority rule and how broken our democracy comes into play. You got 50 senators who are Republican right now, representing millions and millions less people than the 50 Democratic senators, but their vote is just as powerful in the Senate. So we need 10 of those Republicans to come to our side to pass any real piece of legislation. And so it's very hard. And this is why elections matter. And so this year on the Senate side, there are 30 Senate seats up for grabs from across the country. And if we get the right people into those Senate seats, we are more likely to pass some of this legislation that I'm talking about. But it's going to be very difficult until we do that, because everybody needs to be involved in order for that to happen. The other thing is, I mentioned new ideas and new businesses and new technologies. One of the benefits of the system is if you have a brilliant idea and the means and resources and opportunity to bring that idea to fruition, you get an opportunity to benefit from the free market, open market system that we currently have. And I think as much as financial literacy and proper investments, those new ideas and new products and new services are going to build exponentially more wealth quicker than those investments will. And so, like, we need, is our social media only going to be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X? Is that it? No, there has to be more. And I think those new AI, I think those new ideas are going to come for us. And my hope as I remain in Congress is to create the social and education infrastructure to capitalize on the talent that we have in our communities to build those new ideas.
There you have it. Bowman, the case for Jamaal Bowman. Let them know how they can contribute to their campaign if they're interested, and voting and all of that.
Of course. So again, we are 6 days away from early voting. That starts June 15th. Early voting starts June 15th. It goes to June 23rd. Election day is June 25th. If you are not registered, please register. In New York State, you have to be registered in the party to vote in the primary, which is terrible. But please register in the party just this one time to vote Democrat in the primary, because we can't let them buy this seat. My opponent is a millionaire funded by billionaires so that they could buy this seat and move working people out. Like, that's their objective, straight up and down. Like, he's a, older guy, white dude. His whole record, I'm gonna give you one data point on his record. 14% of the children in Westchester County are Black. They make up 62% of children in detention centers, and over 40% of children suspended from school. This is all under his tenure. And so he has no Black agenda, no brown agenda. He's all about wealth and power of himself and his supporters. So BowmanForCongress.com, you can volunteer, you could donate. Get out and vote June 15th to the 23rd, or Election Day, June 25th. And we need record numbers, man. Like, we can't be staying home, because, listen, if we let this power structure come in and buy this seat, then we'll have even less political power, probably for a generation, versus the power we are trying to build right now and the voice we are trying to build. And so, please support me in any way you can. Appreciate it.
And Bowman, can you just tell the people, because they might be, I'm sorry, Congressman Bowman. I apologize. Can you tell the people, because they may be listening, might be watching, they don't even realize that you currently represent them. So just tell them the areas that you do represent.
Absolutely. Yes, I am the current congressman, and I represent Co-op City, Baychester, and Idlewild in the Bronx, and then from Mount Vernon to White Plains in Westchester County. So Mount Vernon, Yonkers, New Rochelle, Greenburgh, White Plains, Portchester, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Scarsdale, Ardsley, all the little villages in between. It's where I currently represent.
And you will be Saturday for our ribbon cutting.
Yes, I'll be at the ribbon cutting Saturday. Very excited about that. Congratulations.
That's your district.
Greenburgh, yeah. Greenburgh is the district.
Yep. Speaking of Greenburgh, this speaks to the political disparities, right? Where I don't think that we should have had to fund that park restoration. That's just my own personal opinion. This doesn't fall under your watch, but we have a town supervisor who I just feel like if we have a county who's one of the wealthiest counties in America, right? Why is there a park that has not been refurbished in 30 years? Right? And that park just happens to be in a black neighborhood.
No, but it does. Let me tell you how it falls under my jurisdiction, right? So every year we have an appropriations process where local municipalities can write a proposal to me so that I can give them grant funding to refurbish a park, for example. For 30 years before I got here, it was Congressman Elliot Engel on one side. On the other side, it was Congresswoman Nita Lowey. Even without us bringing dollars from our congressional offices, we send money to the state and county on a regular basis and to the town that can be used for this. But this is why participation matters. If Black and brown people aren't voting in high numbers, why do they need to listen to what we have to say? And so that's a critical piece. And now that someone like me is in office, I'm going to be proactive in reaching out to Paul Feiner in the town of Greenburgh to put in proposals so that I could bring in federal dollars. As a matter of fact, I just did that for Greenburgh recently, and we're about to expand the field out there. Forgive me for forgetting what the field is. But yeah, it's prioritizing, right? Elected officials prioritize their donors and the people who vote. And if you're neither one of those things, you're not going to be prioritized. That's what we're trying to change.
Got you. There's a couple of things that I think we need to get federal funding for, but on Saturday I will have this conversation with you in person.
All right.
Yes, we gotta bring people out because we want them to go vote either before or after the event, man. We gotta exercise that voting muscle, because this is why they treat me like I'm a crazy person in Congress, because they're like, oh, Bowman's crazy, he's bombastic, he's this and that. No, I'm speaking for the people I represent that y'all been ignoring. So we gotta change that.
Greenburgh residents, let's come. Come out.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay.
Shout out to the Greenburgh residents of the world.
Congressman Jamaal Bowman. Ian,
what's
your thoughts?
You've been to our town, Ian.
I love it. I feel like that's my second home. If I had 30 million on me, though, I would be stressed, and he's handling it well. It's a very interesting political season for sure. And I can understand people feeling disenfranchised, but it's like, if you look at it strategically, if they get all these pieces in play and then Trump gets in office, it's going to be MAGA world. So I'm begging you, come out and vote. I know sometimes people feel like your vote doesn't matter. This election, it matters a lot. A lot.
Yeah, and it shows you the power of capital, right? Like, he has an opportunity to have a platform where he can say these things and voice this perspective, but a lot of people don't, and they don't have the capital. So
yeah,
gave some good insight on some blackout topics, honestly, when it comes to why some nations are prioritized over other nations. And these are questions that nobody ever really asked these questions. It's just like, okay, Russia invades Ukraine. It's a number one priority to protect Ukraine. And, shout out to everybody.
We're going to talk about that on Blackout?
I feel like there's a history lesson that you're about to go into on Wednesday.
Well, it's not even history. It's just a fact of life, where it's like, we don't even think we're just so programmed. And it's like, okay, Ukraine is the biggest ally of America now, right?
Yeah.
But, okay, so what are we doing about Haiti? What are we doing about the Congo? What are we doing about Sudan?
Yep.
What are we doing? I mean, I can just keep this can kind of keep going on and on.
So
I'm doing about Somalia.
Exactly. So how you're saying that? There are hundreds, if not thousands of people who are unaware of the atrocities that are happening in these places. So I'm actually from a standpoint where it's like, when you're like, I'm a hip hop historian, I'm like, bro, you're not a hip hop historian. You don't go back to the 80s. I feel like history is like one of your strong things. And so if you get in that bag, I'm feeling like I'm asking, like, can we get in that bag?
We can get in that bag.
We can get in that bag.
That at the end of the day, people, okay, let's just be honest, right? The vast majority of white people are not going to be overly enthusiastic about sending money, sending support, and helping Black countries.
Black countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my 2-sentence thesis on it. I'm not saying every white person, because there are generally good white people that are very enthusiastic about helping Black people. But what I'm saying is that it's more relatable to help Ukraine because you identify with these people. They look like you, right? And you can see yourself. And this is what we spoke last week with Wagstaff about. Like, he was like, the judge identified with the shooter because he was white. He saw his grandson in that kid, right? So he's going to treat him differently than somebody who's Black with dreadlocks and gold teeth in his mouth, who he looks like this guy could potentially kill me if I don't put him away. So I gotta add an additional 20 years on top of what he's supposed to get, because I just feel extremely threatened just by his presence. Just looking at him is just infuriating me.
Yep.
Right?
They fear what they don't understand.
Life's golden rules is the man with the goal makes the rules.
Makes the rules. Big facts. That's my dad's favorite quote.
And that's what we're seeing right now. They put 30 million on his head.
Right?
And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And took away DEI and the Fearless Fund ruling didn't go enough. Like, they're destroying shit right in front of us. And then people, what you think about Drake and Kendrick? What?
That was interesting.
Doesn't matter.
That was interesting. A Biden quote that he quoted from Biden when he's saying that if there wasn't an Israel, we would have to create one. That's an interesting statement to make.
Yeah. I thought so. I mean,
there's a lot of truth in that, and I believe it right there.
The history of it is
Joe Biden. Interesting commentary.
The founding of a country.
You think you have a lot more commentary after like November 5th or 6th?
Joe Biden or Bowman?
Joe Biden.
Well, you're gonna need more commentary before that.
If he's able to talk. Yeah. At this point in time, he might not even be able to communicate properly.
By the 7th, by the 6th, if it don't go his way, I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
These teleprompters are gonna have to work overtime these days.
What have they picked a date for the debate yet?
Not yet.
For what I'm hearing, they might not even do a debate now.
That would be insane. That would be insane.
You think that he's mentally capable of debating?
No. You saw him in person.
I did. He impressed me in person.
They might prepare him enough.
He impressed me in person. I give him credit. Yeah. He was very impressive in person, but a debate is a little bit harder. It's one thing to give a speech. That's hard. To give a speech for 90 minutes is extremely difficult. To debate somebody who is a pit bull and who has no filter at all for 90 minutes is extremely difficult. That's extremely difficult.
That won't be the strong suit if there is a moderator who has prompted them both on what the questions are going to be. If it's no holds barred.
Well, even if you get Trump, it's still going to be no hope. He's going to
bring his son. Trump's not going to
smoking crack.
He's going
to play all kinds of.
He just said he's going to pardon his kid. You know,
no, that was crazy. But I'm saying you
remember the Hillary Clinton debate when he talked about how your husband was cheating on you and all. Like, this dude is unhinged.
If you're going so then that's the thing. Is like, let me show you how unhinged he is, and let me stay focused on the topic of the question. But if it's like no hold bar, that's going to be an onslaught. It's going to be an onslaught.
All right, you got a national debate. I never forget the Hillary Clinton situation. He literally said, like, your husband was cheating. Like, all right, that's embarrassing. I don't care how politically trained you are or how disciplined you are.
You're going to get ruffled.
Somebody talks about your family in front of 100 million people watching. You can't just take that on the chin. Like, that's something that you're going to have to.
But she did, right?
But it affected her. You could just tell, like, she was rattled.
I'm talking about in the moment. She took it on the chin. She responded, right? She didn't get flustered where she couldn't answer questions anymore. What I'm saying is, like, and that was prompted by a moderator who had a specific set of questions that they both know that they were going to be asked. So you're going to go back to your talking points. If you don't have somebody that's like controlling that, and there's no talking points.
When he says your son's smoking crack in the White House and it's your fault.
Where's that coming from? I'm saying where's that coming from? Inside of
he's just going to throw it out there. It don't got to come from nowhere.
What do I think he's going to do?
They could be talking about Russia, and that's what he's going to segue into.
He's going to laugh and try to spin it to something else. That's what you're gonna do.
It ain't really no laughing matter.
It's not in
the White House.
It's not a laughing matter.
Really
but you said it's not. But you asked how do I think he'll respond? I think he'll laugh it and then spin it into something.
So if somebody was talking about your son,
I'm not running for president. Somebody told my son that's going to be a different situation.
But you just said that you're going to laugh about it.
No, I said he's going to laugh about it. You said, how do I think he will respond?
We'll see.
Not how I will respond.
I personally don't think that he should do a debate. I don't see any benefit in Biden doing a debate. I don't think, if I was advising him, I would advise him to not do a debate. Because like I said,
He'd be the first president in modern history to not do one, right?
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
We breaking
also yes, modern history. Yes.
He'll be the first president with 34 felonies in history. So
Sure.
It's like throw the rules out the window. Like, throw the rules out the window. Once you get convicted of 34 felonies for paying off a porn star and still are winning.
Crazy. Oh, shout out to those y'all who were like, oh my God, how are you joking about the Brittany Renner thing? It's not a joking topic. You go change the world. Like I did.
Have your shot at it.
You know how hard it is to be this accurate and informative and funny? You go change the world. I don't see you running for nothing, just running your mouth. Stop it. Go help our people in some way. Please.
The choice is yours.
Please.
A choice and a
This
change.
political season is going to be interesting, though. But maybe they'll, swing the election their way. He had the most votes ever in history, right? Like, bro, stop. We're going to just flat out lie. You have more votes than Obama? Oh, okay. Got you.
I want to see
documentation
I'm
says.
interested to see it.
We got we are officially,
you better bring us some more migrants.
What is that? 4 months away? 5?
Yep. I think 5.
5. 5 months. 5 months.
Yep.
Republicans, Democrats. It's an interesting vibe that we're in. RFK, what's he doing?
No more shows going?
He got a big interview actually coming up. I'm gonna tell you about it.
Yeah.
He got it.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, he
did
does.
an interview with somebody that
you
know well.
Yep.
Not Adam 22, did he really?
No. Not like.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Wow. Shout out to him.
All right.
Last question. Which stocks do you recommend for weekly investments during the month of June?
The ones we talked about. Stop worrying about investing for the short term because you want to take some chick to Miami to Sexy Fish. Sexy Fish ain't even that much of a vibe. Go to Poppy Steak. No. AMD, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, AMD, ASML. I don't care about the short term. Short term bags are not good. I want you to get a big long term bag. So, great question. These are just jokes written by 85 South. I'm not being pompous or flippant, but I don't want you to be thinking about weekly investing. I want you to be thinking about investing for the next few years so you can change your life.
A friend of mine just texted me actually. He said, Ian said, get Nvidia in the 90s. The FOMO was killing me. I'm assuming he's referring to the 90s as far as a pullback to the 90s.
Yeah. We'll get it now. Cool. If you don't want to wait, get it now.
Get it now.
Have it your way.
Right. Y'all shoot, and then if it don't go right, it's like, yo, I'm down 16%.
Nah, what's gonna happen is it's gonna get to 97 or something, and they're gonna be like, I wonder if I should do it now.
Well,
yeah. Buy when you want to.
I'm just saying what people are really gonna do, right? It's like I said, I'm gonna find the clip when we was on and you were there, and I'm like, yo, get this 205 call, and this dude was arguing with me for like 5 minutes why he shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
1900% later.
What did it cost you? I mean, if you guys want a shorter price,
it cost us 5 minutes of our time we can't get back.
Have patience. Get it at 112.35. If you don't, you can text them 112.35. Now, when a dip, I don't want any conversation.
Too much dip in the chip.
Hey, buy one. Yeah, but dollar cost average. Buy every month. Cool.
Blackout. New episode airing Wednesday. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to Styles Pete. That was a great conversation that we had last week.
Yeah, it was fun.
Variety of different topics covered.
Yeah, I was there, y'all. I sent somebody in the comments like, "Where's Troy?" I'm there, y'all.
He's there.
You don't see me, but I'm there. It's okay, guys.
Like that 695 million Fauci got. You don't see him in the background.
Crazy. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure y'all go download it on all audio podcasts. Please run it up. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You gotta stop reminding people. Go download it. Go listen to it and go tell a friend to tell a friend.
Please
do that. We appreciate y'all. All right. We got to go look at this this Apple Intelligence thing. I'm gonna go check this thing out. I'm gonna come back.
I hope it lives up. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
We
gonna
gotta
have a
see
full
what
review
the
next week.
Siri Apple Intelligence piece, the ChatGPT component.
Enter the competition.
We got to do a software update. Go ahead. Rashad.
Probably sometime soon.
Oh yeah, update tonight. Yep.
Into the competition, the Nipsey Hussle Business Grant
Please.
competition. Please.
Do yourself a favor.
In memory of Nipsey Hussle.
Or don't, and let me and Edward get the money. I'm cool with that.
Shout out to Edwin.
Shout out to Edwin, man. Shout out to Edwin. Sure.
Shout out to Edwin.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Next week, Market Mondays, we might have some surprises next week.
Yeah.
So tune in early.
Get your tickets and vendor booths now. When they get like that, I'm telling you, don't text me. I don't know, but I know the face. Something's about to happen.
I'm gonna text you, Ian. I want your reaction.
No, we spoke. We spoke.
spoke?
We spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke.
I haven't given a clue out.
Send him a video. Send him a video.
No, we'll send him a text just to kind of.
The picture?
I sat down with Bleep eye to eye. He told me everything.
Okay.
For 2 hours. He told me everything.
No, I was there.
Okay.
You can't say I if I was there.
But I was eye to eye.
You can't, right? Yo, Bam is listening to this right now. Like, wait, Troy wasn't there? I was sitting there, and I'll be honest. When somebody looks you in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine the feeling in you hate his stomach.
When you look somebody in the eye and you don't want to look away because you're like, yo, are they testing me right now?
Let's just say this. I can only imagine the feeling in your hater's stomach.
You got it, Ian?
Yeah, this one's tough.
I could only imagine the disgust, the anger, but that's what you get for trying to discredit.
Don't do this.
Not right now. We're gonna wait. Time about 20.
Don't do this.
You know, you'd be tired. You'd be like,
no. I know the rabbit hole destruction.
Not yet.
About to happen. So let me just don't do this right now.
Yeah, because he gonna do it for us. You know,
Luka Doncic.
Hey, my boy.
If he can come back from 2-0, shout out to Kyrie.
Shout out to Kyrie, my brother. I love you dearly.
I'm signing a
Mark Cuban.
If they come back, I gotta do something. I'm telling you, it's over. But if they do come back, I gotta do something for somebody that's listening or watching right now.
Yeah, big facts. PJ Washington been balling too, though.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. He been balling. Somebody from the Mavs, you gotta step up, y'all.
Jaylen Brown. Shout out to Jaylen Brown.
Looking like an MVP out there.
Big facts.
You never know.
That 330 worth it.
He's tapped in. You never know.
334 worth it.
Hey, say it again.
That's what.
Genius too.
He about to get 360. The real 360.
For real. Damn, them contracts in the NBA crazy right now. These new little NBC rights.
You couldn't on the Laker job.
Oh yeah. Good.
Cool.
Hurley,
the coach of
going back to UConn.
Oh damn, JJ Redick in there for sure. Damn,
yeah, you know,
it's looking like it.
Whatever Braun wants, Braun gets.
Damn.
From podcast,
can somebody hire Mark Jackson? Shit.
From podcast to that coach.
Yo, are y'all watching clip or should y'all say you want like blackout or no? Y'all watching that?
About what? About what?
Clip, the LA Clippers thing.
No. I watch
that shit garbage, yo. Yeah, they should put that on Tubi.
Yo, the casting on that, incredible,
insane.
And
shout out to Ed O'Neill, whatever his name is. He doing decent, but
he's doing good. He's doing good.
He's doing his job, but
and
man,
the chick is V's doing whoever's playing V, she doing all right too.
Yeah, she's doing all right.
Blake Griffin,
the rest of it, Tubi. They ran out of money.
DeAndre Jordan and the Steph Curry thing.
Crazy,
man, and they got my man Matt. They got dude from Insecure playing Matt Barnes. Great.
Insane.
And FX usually does a great job. But it's only 2 episodes. Let me not fully
it ain't getting better from here.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. Hey,
all right, guys.
No, we can't leave yet. This is very important. Why? No, we can't. This is very important. I have to say this because if we don't say it, no one will. And so I want to wish both of you and all the men out there a happy Father's Day.
Thank
For
you,
being
brother.
leaders,
You as well.
not only in your community, but in your family and to the world in general.
Happy Father's Day.
Shout out to all the
Every
fathers.
day is Father's Day.
Yes.
Shout out to my dad. Shout out to your dad.
Yes, shout out to
all
my
the
dad,
dads
yep.
out there, all the fathers out there, all the men that have stepped up when it was called, duty was called to be a father in so many kids' lives. We salute you. We applaud you. Continue to do the work. We appreciate your work. Thank you.
And shame on you deadbeats. Don't post your kids.
You see what I'm
Please,
saying?
if you're a deadbeat,
Big
don't post
facts.
your kids.
Yeah, you got one little outfit.
Why y'all niggas?
It's the one time a year where you post your kid. It's like going to Easter. It's like people that go to church on Easter. Like you post your kid one time a year, maybe twice, maybe their birthday and Father's Day.
With the old photo.
The greatest blessing. You haven't seen us since
same picture every year.
November.
But we're not talking about y'all.
You haven't seen.
We're not talking about y'all. I'm talking about
Take care of your
all
kids,
the
yo.
great fathers, dads out there. Keep doing the work. The work is needed. It's vital. It's evident when we see these young adults growing up in our communities. Please continue to do the work. Thank you.
And if you had the best relationship, now you can make the change.
This is
and be more
yeah.
active.
And if you don't get recognized on it, internalize that. Have self-reflection and try to do a better job.
Came in with my style, so I fathered you.
You're just not gonna stop.
I got a bunch of children out here. I ain't even gonna lie.
Y'all just not gonna stop.
Illegitimate.
I'm about
When
to
this
get a bill.
announcement get made, I'm for real going back to pineapple and leather jacket vibes. Oh boy.
Yeah, I tried, y'all. I
Yo,
tried.
Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Please, on a serious note, don't discredit bro's legacy. You know, it took us a lot to even be able to do this with his name on it, to involve his family. So just in his name, don't embarrass us by having 20,000 people there and 50 people apply. That would be an extremely embarrassing moment, and we'll never do anything ever again. Be honest with you. I mean,
They're not like us. For real.
Don't ask me nothing, please. Respectfully.
That's crazy. 20, bro.
Yo, we'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys.
Love y'all.
Maybe.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Oh.